Ayomide here, and guess what? We're back for more incredible journeys into the lives of everyday heroes on the World Without People podcast. Dive into more vibrant stories, shared experiences, and mind blowing perspectives with me in season 2. New faces, new stories, but the same old vibe. So, whether you're a seasoned listener or just stumbling upon this oasis of humanity, welcome. Grab your favorite beverage and join the adventure. Let's celebrate the beauty of the world, one remarkable story at a time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The World Without People. My name is Ayomide, and I am so excited to be here. I'm always excited to be here, but I really have the pleasure of interviewing my PY. I call her mommy, so in case I slip, just to know that. We have Pastor Yewande Efodili with us. Thank you so much, PY, for coming on the show.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. We've had a very, very interesting start to this conversation. I've never had this much technical failure in trying to get this going. So you know that the devil is a liar, but we're going to make it work. And so I'm so happy to be here because we really want to get into a very important topic. I was just thinking about the fact that we could have talked about so many things, losing a spouse. I've never had anybody here come talk about that. So we definitely have to do a part 2. You also have a child with what do we call it? Yes, Down syndrome, but I am trying to look for the legal name. Spectrum, thank you, Spectrum, who's on the spectrum, and we could have talked about that as well. I also think it's very interesting because, sometimes we think about people who have kids, and if my math is mathing, then that means you also had kids around the same age. I'm going to start having kids, and you're like, what, how? But we're going to stick to what we want to talk about today because we've lost so much time, which is about domestic violence. Pastor Yewande is the founder of Touchlink, which is a nonprofit that helps families, because sometimes we always say women, but really it's families who are affected by domestic violence. And she has a personal story to tell, and I want you to take us through that journey from the beginning.
Awesome. Thank you, first of all, my dear daughter, Nifemi, for this privilege. It's really a privilege to be here. And thank you for inviting me. My name is Yewande Efodili, as you all know, popularly known as PY. Yes. We're talking about Touchlink. So Touchlink was birthed out of my story, out of my life story. Touchlink is a non-profit 501c3 organization that supports, uplifts, and empowers victims and survivors of domestic violence, irrespective of whether they are male or female. Victims. As long as you are victims, Touchlink is there to help. And what do we basically do? We just, because of what I went through almost 3 decades ago now, that was how this was started, and what I didn't get then is what I try to do for them, what I try to give them, much more, plus much more. You're talking about mental assistance. We will get into that later. But really, this started from the ugliness of my life, from the shame of my life, being in love, married, especially when you are in love and you waited for the right guy. And for it was challenging because it was like very competitive. I had like 3 people to choose from. And I think it's also my fault because even out of the 3, I wasn't really looking at the spiritual, because even though I claimed to be born again, but I was not deep in faith. I was more looking at people that I've known, familiar with. I'm more comfortable with them, much more than people that I've known, because my first husband, which is my ex-husband, Wanu's dad, was actually, he was the senior brother of my best friend. He used to be the senior brother. So we all grew up together. We have a picture where I was 5 years old, he was 7 years old. So I know him. I know his family. We grew up together. That actually, for me, nailed it. Other than the rest of the competitor that barely know them, I mean, not as much as I know this guy. And
Mm,
apart from knowing him, even though I know his family, we grew up together, but I didn't know him as a person. He
mm,
schooled, I was in Nigeria, but
mm,
I just felt more comfortable because I was very comfortable with the family.
mm,
So it was a bad choice,
mm,
it was a bad choice. Of course, I made that bad choice, and I got here to America. Everything that he told me was a lie,
mm,
you know. And of course, that marriage ended up in domestic violence, which was really horrible. Ours was a very terrible one because it wasn't normal, it wasn't natural. It started with every other stuff,
mm,
things expected, especially knowing that both of you claim to be Christian. We claim to be Christian, only
mm,
to find out that there were other powers. I've
mm.
never in my life seen what you call those black powers or
Yeah.
juju until I married him. And even here in the US, putting stuff on the ground in the living room, saying he's trying to protect all of us and
Mm,
sending bad feet away. I've never seen that in my life. And
mm,
he would always tell me to be quiet, that the mother is just trying to protect us.
mm,
So that was our main issue, because I will not compromise my faith. But um, whatever happened, ended up on the streets of Newark,
mm,
because the police, of course, there were, domestic violence always starts from something little, minor things, and you
mm,
ignore them, like verbal abuse or name calling, and then grow up before you know it is affecting you emotionally, and
mm,
then affecting you mentally. Of course, it will grow to being physical, because if you continue to tolerate it and you continue to just, give it an excuse, blame yourself, which we all do that. Maybe if I look more pretty, maybe if I behave myself, maybe if I don't return his word for word, maybe things will be better. Because
mm.
it has always been everybody's dream to keep their home. We all
Yeah.
want to keep our home. We
Mm,
all want, I love, 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 love stories.
yeah.
Love stories. I love everything. Oh, they live happily ever after. And
Mm,
so they went to America,
yeah.
to join the husband, and they live happily ever after. The Mills and Boone story. That
Yeah.
has been at the back of my mind, but this was a Mills and Boone at all. You know.
Mm,
By the way, I don't know if we say it that this month, October, is actually Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why, Nifemi, Buki, Ayomide, what to call you now.
Anything, anything.
That's why she connected with me, and we both agree to do this podcast. So just to put it out there, peradventure there's one or two people, or one or two people going through this. Maybe my story, or my organization will be able to support, uplift, and empower them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've talked about, I've heard you say that you actually got the benefit of a domestic violence immigration situation because, like you mentioned, you were in the streets of New York. So, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So this was back in 1996. We were the first beneficiary of what is called violence against, I might be wrong. I
Yeah,
think it's
no, you're right. You're right.
Violence Against Women Act.
Yeah.
So we were actually the first beneficiary. So, like I said, we got stranded, became homeless on the streets of Newark. My one who actually took the video of that to show you the specific house and the specific street. But my daughter was only 2 years old then.
Mm,
So I'm almost 3 years old, 3 years old, I believe. And then on the streets of Newark, we don't have anybody to call. There was nowhere to go. I didn't know anybody. There was no cell phone,
mm,
money.
yeah.
I just have few change. Then after coming to US, from working as a banker in Nigeria, I
Mm,
was a branch manager in the bank.
mm,
So coming to US, dealing with domestic violence, because I didn't have papers to work. I
right.
was doing odd jobs, working as security. You know, it was just a very terrible period. So from the streets of Newark, nobody to call with my 3 year old. So what do I do? Fortunately, I was able to find. I remember there was his friend. that came to the house, one of the guests that came to see us when we came, she had given me exchange her number with us. So I was able to get to it. So then we used the phone booth to get phone booth. I made the call and she came for us to rescue us on the street. She actually rescued us from the street. It was later I discovered that they actually dated.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but she was furious. She was upset. She took care of us. And then we were helped by a church, and another friend that I met from that church helped us. I already mentioned her name in one of my videos. She helped us. She helped house us. We were in a basement in South Orange for some years before I was able to go back to school, get myself settled, but it was a very daunting period. Sometimes you are just looking like, okay, this is not the America
Yeah.
that was promised me. This is not
Yeah.
what I was expecting.
Yeah.
We ended up on the streets. We were rescued. Somebody helped us. The church helped us, and also that woman helped us. We were in our house for some time before going back to school, before picking my life, and then God, by the grace of God, we're where we are today.
Hey everyone, if you're enjoying the podcast, please don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, or share button. Whether you're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or YouTube, your support helps us to reach more people. Stay tuned for more amazing conversations, and thank you for being a part of our community.
Yeah, amen. And I wanted you to say that because I wanted you, like you've done, just talk about the step, like knowing that you can get help. Like it can be as bad as it is, but that was 30 years ago. Now there's so much more resources, including your organization. But before we talk a little bit more about some of the things that you've seen through your organization, I guess you mentioned something around, the how it starts. And for some people, they're in that beginning phase of starting. So I want you to talk a little bit more about that so people can recognize the what, how do you say that? Recognize
The red flags.
Yes, the red flags. Thank you. And again, we're not saying, now get out of the house or divorce or that kind of thing. There's things that we could potentially do, but I think you have to be able to recognize it first before it gets worse.
It's important. It's actually good that you mentioned red flags because red flags are always there.
Yeah.
Even before I married him, that red flag was there. He was a stammerer. He stammers, stutters a lot, But for me, I'm kind of attracted to people with disability. I don't know. I just, maybe because of my empathy or because my middle name is Mercy, so I will allow them, right? I care for them. No wonder God gave me Micah because no, I really grew up because I felt they are being cheated. People call them names and things like that. I do not tolerate that. I always advocate for them and defend them. So it was stutters, but I didn't look at him being stuttering as a big deal. You understand? And so some of the red flags were some lies, some things. I did not verify some of those things. Promises unkept, right? He break his promises. And then I will just make excuses for that. Those were the red flag at the beginning, even before we got married, and our marriage was also very sudden, because we were supposed to marry somebody else. But I felt, if I hadn't married him, I would have married the other person. And I didn't want to marry the other person because I felt I saw a red flag on that one. I thought I saw a red flag on that one. And this one, and I got in trouble.
Yeah.
I got in trouble. But that notwithstanding, I felt it is many of my clients, they see the red flag, but they ignore the red flag. Many of them always tell me that they saw that red flag. But I think it's also the fact that, I'm advancing in age. All my mates are getting married. I'm getting old. Let me make a decision. So, and not putting God first, not having mentor in your life, not looking for people that you can at least trust. Because marriage is not something that anybody can rush into. Marriage is not a decision that should be made just by you. It's something, first of all, that you need to absolutely surrender it to God.
Right.
You need to go to God and allow God to give you that conviction, number
Yeah.
one. Then number two, you need at least, if not one or two, maybe two people to be involved in that decision, because there's something we call blind view.
Mm.
Just like your rear view mirror, there
Yeah.
are some blind spots that you will not see.
Yeah.
There's no way you will see some the blind spot, but
Yeah.
your mentor or people that you allow into your space, people that you trust, they are able to see that blind spot and they are able to help you. This
Yeah.
was mistakes that I made.
Right.
Nobody.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
wasn't sharing this with anybody. A
Mm.
lot of it was hush hush. And it
Yeah.
was hushed because he lives in the US and he said to me, we have to quickly do it, go to the registry so that we can use it to file my papers.
Mm.
Everything was a lie. He did not file any paper. And
Mm.
of course, coming here, I came here with a visiting visa.
Mhm.
And going back home, was not an issue it
Yeah.
was a problem. I
Yeah.
was actually going to go back, but it was a problem because at then my passport had been stolen. I
Oh
couldn't
wow.
find it, and my kids, my daughter's passport, we couldn't find all of our documents were missing. Let me
Hmm.
say it that way. Maybe they were missing. It was I was a one bedroom,
Yeah.
a one bedroom house, and we could not find all our documents. So
Hmm.
that was the issue for us there.
Yeah.
But we were privileged, like you said, because we afterwards, right, that the domestic violence happened. I wasn't even. My intention was not even to totally divorce him. My
Yeah.
intention was to separate myself and my daughter from the abuse, hoping that eventually we will reconcile or we will resolve the issue, we will address the issue, and things will be better. But it was fire for fire. He
Mm.
had people here, I didn't have people here.
Mm.
It was just fire for fire. It
Mm.
was, and before I went back home to collect my few things, the lock had been changed, everything had been changed. I was a no-go area. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. But you talk about it from my standpoint. I've heard, or some people experience this without even being married to the person, like just as boyfriend, girlfriend. And some people have even then gone on to still marry the person. And so can you help us understand the psyche that helps make those decisions? And to your point, because I would expect that a big red flag is the person has hit you before, the person hit you while you were dating, and that there's a lot of anger, the person berates you in front of others, those kind of things. Like, so things that should immediately sign in your brain that this is a no-go area. But that's not what we see. So what do you think is the issue in that case?
There are so many ways to look at it, actually. There's so many versions to it. But
Mm.
if you are in a relationship and that person is, even if it's not physical abuse, if it is just verbal abuse, it's a no-no.
Mm.
And I think it's important to set a boundary. There has to be a boundary when you refuse to set up a boundary. And another thing I say to people is, first of all, examine yourself. Do you like yourself? Do
Mm.
you, I think loving yourself is a big way, is a
Mm.
big thing. When you are not able to love yourself, it's very difficult to have a healthy relationship
Mm.
because you will accept what people call you. When
Mm.
people call you stupid, you think, yes, you are stupid.
Mm.
When people use bad name or
Mm.
just generally put you down, you
Mm.
will accept maybe they are right.
Mm.
So having a self-assessment is important to
Mm.
know who are you really, who are you? Define yourself, then talk to yourself, and then see the value. Call yourself by what God has called you to be. See the
Mm.
value in you, that you are beautiful. Your beauty is not just in the outward appearance, even from the inside, you are valuable. There's a lot, I think self identification is so important.
Mm.
And I think many people have lost it in that area. And
Mm.
so when you are now experiencing battering, when people start abusing you, calling you names, or just, those red flags, you are able to see it and capitalize on it and say, no,
Mm.
it's okay to say no. It's okay to walk out of that relationship if it's not healthy.
Yeah.
Healthy relationship is something that must be, you have to define it, what is healthy.
Mm.
You have to be determined, and you have to also, allow good people into your space that will help you. A lot of time people do stuff, they say, oh no, it's just hush hush, it's just a secret relationship. If you know that you are in this relationship and this relationship is actually leading towards marriage, please allow good people into your space and let them help you walk that journey. And of course, when you see all the red flags, when you see when you see abuse in the relationship, walk away from that relationship. Let that person go and fix themselves. Because oftentimes, the guy, or it might even be a woman, the woman might have issue. It might be issue of low self-esteem, it might be issue of anger, it might be issue of intolerance, things that it's their issue. You cannot fix it for them. You cannot fix it for them. They need to go take care of themselves. And then maybe they now come and then we can reassess things and see where we stand. But a lot of times, I believe because people are desperate and we're like, what will people say? Things like that, or time, or, you just marry. And then the rate at which, especially in this generation, people are desperate to have a wedding, not just marriage, but to have a wedding. The excitement of the wedding makes us to lose focus of the reality of marriage, of the reality, that we will face in the future.
Yeah. Well, if someone gets married myself, this is very sobering. But like you said, I think, anyways, thank God I have PY in my life. I would not be doing this without a lot of attention and a lot of people that I'm mentoring or that mentor me. And I think it's really quite important because, to your point, I've heard a lot of these stories, and it's because people tend to exclude others from their lives and not be open about what is actually going on in
Yes,
their
especially when people come to you, yes, we are in a relationship or situationship now. I declare situationship, and please don't tell anybody. Let's just keep it to ourselves for now. What is that? What is that? You are telling, first of all, that's power and control in the relationship. You're telling me what we are going to do. You are telling me not to let any. You are not even asking me what do I think. You are not asking for my opinion. You are not asking me what do I think. You are not being objective of my buying. Or you are saying, let's just keep this secret. Let's keep this to ourselves. We don't want that for you. That alone is red flag. And I think it's high time that we begin to pay attention when we can have a healthy relationship. Not, and when we realize there are issues or when we realize there are red flags, we need to take a step back. It doesn't mean that relationship will end. It just means we are taking a step back to allow the person, either girl or boy, to go check yourself, go take care of your thing. Let me check myself, and then we can come back when we both know what we want to do. I think is always the best. But not having not being opinionated or being opinionated, always having their own way or whatever they say that goes, it's a problem. That's a big red flag.
Okay, so I know we tend to focus on women in this case, but how many, in your experience, how many times have we seen men in this issue? And because again, ideally in my head, a man cannot be in this issue. I don't care. But I do have a story. I remember somebody, complaining that, basically the woman, I think she got pregnant and her hormones were just all over the place and just became this person that she was not, basically violent, abusive, all of that. The one time the guy responds, and all he does is he apparently, this is the story, hit her hand. She happens to fall down and she's pregnant, and it became like a whole thing. But nobody talks about the fact that the woman was abusive the entire time. Now, again, this is not the person he married. It could be a hormonal problem. And I often like to give grace to the fact that There might even be a mental problem that somebody doesn't know. Like you might need to go check his brain. There might be a clot or a tumor or something pressing on his amygdala, whatever it's called, affecting him. We know the science, but obviously in that moment you're not thinking about it, right? But whatever the case is, it seemed like he acted and he caused the domestic violence. So I think let's just address the fact that women can be very, very verbally abusive, and maybe even contribute to their own domestic violence. Not to say it's an excuse, but I think we should talk about it.
Of course, statistics shows us, at least in the US, that 1 in 4 women, experience domestic violence, but 1 in 7 men, so that tells you that we have more women, much more than men. So that's why we kind of tend to concentrate on women and not men. But even in Touchling, we do have clients. I've had clients, not currently, but I've attended to clients that are men. And most of the time, the issue, the couple of them, one of them that I'll tell you the story. This guy, married, actually, she got married to an American woman. And she really, it wasn't as a she, sorry. He really, really loved this woman, right? The only reason why they were having this issue was because the woman was now using, and he didn't marry the woman. He didn't marry the woman because of papers. It was real, it was. They met at school and all that, But this woman, prior to the marriage, had 2 other kids. So eventually, what now happened was this woman now prevented the guy from continuing in his education. Basically, now the guy now become, a stay-at-home husband, caring for. He would be the one that will bathe the kids. He doesn't mind caring for the kids, but he just felt the 3 years that they were together, he was not just abused, mentally, emotionally, but also physically, because eventually he got a job. He had to get a job around when the kids are in school. The girl kind of was overpowered him, kind of control the marriage, and everything she says goes. And he was threatened with deportation. He was threatened with his green card and all that. It was horrible, to the extent that this woman would beat him. Yes, this woman would beat him, and he wasn't able to attack her because he was afraid that if he touched her, it would be reported and he would be in trouble. So eventually, let me tell you, we actually got that case from the state of New Jersey, because the man now ended up in a mental institution because he felt like, is he going to live the rest of his life like this? After 3 years, he ended up in a mental institution. So it was from there that the case was referred to Touchlink. But the good news was, of course, the state actually supported him. He got his paper. He was divorced from the woman. With the help of Touchlink, he went back to school. He went back, he got his master's from Rogers, and now he's doing, he actually got his CPA. Doing much. Now he's remarried. He's still in touch with me, doing much, much better.
Wow.
Why am I saying this? This happens to everybody. It's just that it's common among the women. It's common. The one thing that I want people to pay attention to, number one, don't be in a secret relationship from the get-go. Just let him know that no, we are not we are not doing anything in secret. Because that's a red flag. Why does it have to be secret? Then there's something wrong somewhere. And another thing I want to tell us is allow people, maybe not the whole world, right? But allow 1 or 2 people that you trust, people that are in your life that mentors you already. Allow them into your space. Be true to yourself also. Before you go into relationship, be healthy. Some of us are not healthy, like we are jumping. And I have some clients like that. If they are going from one relationship to another relationship, one abuse to another abuse, how can you be sexually abused by 7 men, 7 different men? Every time you go into relationship, same thing. That means something is happening to me, right? We don't normally don't blame victims, but I always tell them, to get therapy and to also get counseling and to not be in a hurry to go into another relationship until they are healthy. Because, hurtful people hurt people.
Yeah.
If you are not healthy and you rush into another relationship, either you fall victim again or you become violent.
Yeah.
Or things become violent. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's such a powerful story. And you said 1 in 7 men, and I'm very certain that men are not reporting it. So I think it'll be interesting to see if that number is actually closer, like the difference between
it might be closer
women.
because men don't talk. They
Exactly. They
don't
report it.
not talk. Men will not report it. Men will, it's a shame. There's a stigma out there, like for them to say what? Oh my God. People will make fun of them. Stigma. Men don't talk about it. But but things are better now because of more information. Even men are talking. Even because even many organizations or many places that you go to, all the forum that you see, majority of the people talking are women. But it's just kind of feel like a shame, or his guys will be, just making fun of him that you are not man enough. What does that mean?
Yeah. No, I understand it. And it's funny because you actually said it even when you were introducing yourself, and you said the shame of your life. And I'm like, what? Like, to the point, it's been 30 something years, you've grown great, you've thankfully you remarried, had a great love, all of that stuff. So why do you still refer to it as that though? Because is it, because I feel like if you've healed out of something and gotten out of something, then you don't, you don't still carry that tag. But it sounds to me like it feels like it's a tag that people carry on for a long time.
It's let me tell you something. Pain or shameful situation is always leave a dent on you. Of course, you heal from it, and by the grace of God, the way you heal from it is what we're doing by talking about it, by helping other people. Even sometimes we still carry the scars. We still have the scars. It's a shame because, especially, I remember when I first shared my story, and when I first started telling my story, my family they were upset. They were like, are you serious? They were all stopping me. Why should you do things like that? Why should you? Oh my God, they were all against me. I had to put them down to say, look, this is the way I can find my healing. I am tired of keeping things in. I have to speak. And there are a lot of people out there also feeling the pain hurting. The more we talk about it, the less painful it becomes. Now I'm not in pain anymore. It's not a shame for me anymore, but it is referred to as shame. Even if you look at our theme for this year in raising awareness is actually stepping out of shame into purpose. Because the states where people are, they see it as shame. No. For me, I thank God for how far God has brought me. It's not a shame for me anymore to talk about it. But of course, the place is a dark place. We are coming out of darkness into light, but it takes time. And the healing is a journey. It's not something automatic. And the more we talk about it, the more we put our effort into helping other people, the better relieved we feel. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's important because, sometimes a lot of people, you've had this experience now, how, going into another relationship, even if it's healthy, you may still carry that shame or that pain. But I think what you're trying to say is that it doesn't matter even if you're the length of the carrying it, just know that you can get healthy. Is that what you're saying? Like, because I guess how would I encourage somebody who's maybe experienced this to look at love again or think about love again? How would you encourage
That's
them?
why, of course, we can love again. I mean, I found love.
I know you did.
I found love with my late husband, Manny. You can love again, but it's like I said, we should not be in a hurry to go into relationship. Hurtful people hurt people. If you are healthy, then you'll be able to go into a healthy relationship. It's always good to assess yourself. That was one of the things I said at the beginning. Assess yourself, know your pain, right? And turn your pain to God. That helped a lot. I believe somewhere in Isaiah 61, the scripture actually mentioned that about, I believe 61. I think I have my Bible somewhere. 61. He said, instead of their shame, my people will receive a double portion. And instead of disgrace, they will rejoice in their inheritance, so that they will inherit a double portion in the land, and everything joy will be theirs. In order for you to get that joy, you must be able to give God that shame. You know how the scripture says in Matthew, I believe 11:28, that come to me, all ye that are weary and heavy laden. He said we should come to him. He said, take of my yoke, give me your body, give me your yoke, and take my. There's an exchange at the feet of Jesus. And that's what we do. We take that pain to the feet of Jesus. That's why it's a struggle and it's tough when people don't have Christ. But when you have Christ and you make Christ number one love of your life, your first love of your life should be Jesus. When you make him the first love of your life, you know, even if any man is coming to you, they have to go to Jesus to get permission to have access to you, right? And so when you are at the feet of Christ, you exchange that pain and get Christ's love. So you become healthy. I mean, it's a journey, it's not automatic, but at least you having that sense and having that word helps you, empowers you to keep a healthy relationship.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Okay, before we go too much further, I do want us to go back. Well, I don't think we've actually even talked about it, but the idea, like with children, right? Because I think you mentioned your child, but just even some of the stories we've talked about with children, you know, they call it ACOD, a child of, no, is that, no, that's a child of divorce. What's the other one? There's something else. I think it's a child of DV. Anyways, whatever.
Okay.
What is the how do I say it? How do you help children in
How
this
do
case?
they affect children?
Yeah, how do you? Yeah, because we know the effect. There's nothing, you know. I feel like people sometimes forget that children can see no matter what, right? But I think, you know, two ways to ask it or to think about it is that sometimes, to your point, DV, even though we always talk about it more from the physical, there's the emotional and then there's the verbal part of it. And children see that even much more than they may ever see a scar.
Even sucking children.
Yeah. And so the effect of it, but how do we help them? How do we help them sooner rather than later? I guess is the point.
How do we help them?
Yes.
First of all, you know, my heart always goes to children of domestic violence. You know, parents should understand that even if you're pregnant, your baby is being affected because the hormones, the stresses affect even, you know, from the, you know, the tension and everything. I don't know the biological aspects. I can tell you that, you know, as a mother, they feel it. That's why some mom, they lose their pregnancy. You know, so much tension, there's so much violence during pregnancy, there's danger of losing that. So if there's danger of losing that pregnancy, there's also danger of that baby developing any form of, you know, abnormality, you know, which include even behaviors, you know, behavioral issues, which include any form of even disability. You understand? So that tension is real, you know. So talking about baby, you know, in the womb. Now talking about baby that even inside the house, they can hear it, they can see it, they can feel it, you know, right? You know, because most of the time we think, oh, they are just in the room, they're just in their room, they were not around. I tell you, they can hear it, they can see it, they can feel it, they can touch it. Even the sucking baby, you know, you can imagine you are crying and your baby is sucking. Your baby all of a sudden we do like this. We kind of feel the like, what's wrong with my mom? It's unusual. Or there's a loud noise coming from somewhere. You see a child quickly run, Mommy, are you okay? Know what goes on. So what can we do? What can we do? Please, I'm begging you, if you are in a marriage, you know, where there is domestic violence, take the issue out of the house. Can invite yourself for conversation. Conversation is important, actually, during any type of tension. And amicable, but there are situations where he doesn't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to him. Have like a mediator, get the issue out of the house. Because everything the children can hear, they can know the tension. And it's always good to, children wants to be nurtured. They wants to be loved. Engage them. Let Tell them the truth. Stop lying. Same way they don't tell children body parts. Let your children have body parts. No, let them know. Because if anybody touch them, they will be calling different things. They will not call the right, and then they will say, oh, they didn't do anything to them, because they are not allowed to call vagina, they're not allowed to call breast, they're not allowed to call eyes. Let them know. Somebody touched me here. Always speak out. So I tell parents to do that. And another thing is, engage children. Don't tell me that you don't want them to know now. You already know. And guess what? They are blaming themselves. I've had cases of my clients' children where, in fact, the one case I always give often is there was a situation where this family, husband and wife, constantly, they're always at loggerhead. So this child at school was using, she was 10 years old then, using her phone. She put on the social media a sign. She made a paper in form of a gun, and she put it on her head. He said, you know what? This is what I feel to do to myself right now. And she put it there on her social media. So through that posting, somebody, somehow, he's there in the US, here in New Jersey. Somebody was able to connect, to the IP address of they were able to locate the child, and so they came to the child's school. So they came to meet the school authority and said, this is what one of your students posted online. I think something is wrong. So, of course, the DIFOS, we used to call them DIFOS family, children and family, and they called them all in, and the social worker, they went to the house, only to discover that before children come to school in the morning, the parents have just fought. It was just loggerhead all the time. And so there's no peace. Very brilliant girl, but there is no peace in the house. And truly, when they referred the girl again to us, and then of course we were able to also talk to the mom. I didn't have access to the father, and then we realized the mother didn't know that they were even aware. We realized that there's even a lot that was wrong with that girl. She was already planning to run out of the house to try to find safety. She felt she and her brother are not safe in the house. So there's a lot of things that can happen in the house when there's domestic violence inside of the house. And I always encourage parents also, don't put them as part of the plan. Let them get therapy. Let them see professional therapists. It helps a lot. And from them engaging with therapists, they'll be able to describe, even if they're small, they'll be able to draw and describe exactly their experience in the house. Also, provide them with the right therapy to be able to heal. Of course, they can heal from that. But that's really sad. So many, children of domestic violence, children that witness domestic violence, they will always become a victim or become a perpetrator. They become the perpetrator. That's one thing we don't know, unless that is corrected, unless there's intervention through counseling, through the right proper counseling, through therapy. They can always live a good life, a better life. But it's always good to engage them and let them tell them the truth. And another thing I will also say to parents where children are involved, especially where the parents are now divorced, don't damage their father or their mother. Don't bring one partner down. Let them find out. They are smart. Be honest with them. Be open with them. Talk to them. Engage them. Pray for them. Involve them. And let them know you for your integrity. Because the truth will come out. They will find out eventually who is the bad guy. But don't try to always say something bad about their father or about their mother. That creates a damaging. In fact, you are also taking away from their personality. Either they become resentful, they become very angry, or they now start hating guys. Or every guy they see is a terrible guy.
No, I think it makes perfect sense. And I think that one of the things that you've said now is just this idea that, we can heal. And so even the perpetrator himself or herself can have healed or changed or become a different person. And, if we're not careful with the way we converse and talk about it to the child, the child will always have that image of the father or the mother like that. Whereas, maybe even if they have other children, for example, that other child is like, I don't know that person you're talking about. My father never hit my mom, that kind of thing. And so, it's a thin line, but it's something that parents have to walk on it. But I do, what I'm happy you're saying is get the help, get the therapy, for the kids immediately.
So I can even give you one example. I have an example of a child that got therapy from us, also services from us. I mean, of course, now she's now married, but she now discovered that she was the one abusive in her marriage, how she was brought up, because of violence, because she grew up seeing the wickedness that her father did to her mother. And because of that, she became very, resentful. She became very angry. She grew up with that. She hated men, really, but fell in love. And her husband was a good man. And she came crying, my husband is a good man. But I still have this attitude because I have problem with trusting men. Even with my husband, we are good, but I just have problem trusting him because of the way I grew up, because of what I've experienced growing up. And guess we were able to now, of course, with spiritual therapy, the scripture, do some inner healing, I was able to heal from that. So what I'm saying in essence is, sometimes parents don't know the impact, negative impacts of this exposure to the children until it's too late. Luckily, this one was able to recognize that, look, I'm the one for you are a good guy. Let me seek for help. And she did. And today she's thankful they're living happily.
And I think it's important because I was telling somebody the other day that, sometimes your trauma doesn't come up until much later. You think you're completely well and done and all of that. And that's because maybe you've not been hit in the face with that situation and the things like that. So to your point about, getting the help sooner rather than later, I think is quite important. I have one final question for you because of time. I want you to just really talk about what Touchlink is doing now. So Touchlink is its 11th or 12th year?
10th year.
It's its 10th year. Oh, wow. Why did I think it was? Oh, okay. Why did I think it was 11?
It's our 10 years anniversary.
Oh, that's so awesome. I've walked the streets of Woodbridge, raising awareness for domestic violence. I'm a proud supporter. As some of you know, this has been my experience as well. So I know what this is and what the effect is. And I've honestly been honored to partner with PY. I don't think maybe sometimes I've missed my payments, but
no, you don't. Not for anything. I really want to respect you and do a shout out. Everybody, do a shout out for Nife for me, because Nife has been, even while she was in school, even when she was struggling, at a point I was tempted to pinch her and say, if I didn't think you should stop the payment, but she was like, no. She has been consistent. She's a consistent monthly partner of Touchlink. I thank God for you and for many partners like that, people that believed in our cause, because this is a really good cause and it's expensive. It's an expensive cause. At times, just a couple of days ago, I had to put somebody in an hotel, paying $75 to $100 per night for an hotel, not even a big hotel, just a motel. The price of things has gone up. So it's very pricey, and that's one of the reasons why one of our vision in Touchlink is Vision 2025, to have our own permanent transitional home where we can put victims in the interim before they settle into the society. So that's one of our goals. So this year, or this October, we're having every week, almost every week in October is fully packed. We are, in support of the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Right, starting from this Saturday, we are going to be having a virtual talk at 10 o'clock. It's a virtual rally, not talk. A rally where we have about 6-7 speakers from the community. We have a lawyer, we have the mayor, we have the police representative, we have several people in the community, an educationist that will be talking, and also we have victims also, or survivor, that will be talking, sharing their experience and how Touchlink has helped. So this Saturday we are expecting everybody. This Saturday is October 5th. I don't know when people are watching this, but it's going to be October 5th. So we want people to come and support. And then throughout the month, we have awesome event that is being planned. Like, for instance, every weekend, we have another special survivor story coming up, talking about entrepreneurship, because we are talking about stepping out of shame into purpose. How do you step into purpose when you can barely even help yourself, right? So we are encouraging people about going into entrepreneurship, which is something that I did not go into quickly. And I'm even, no matter, even if you are making 6 figures, like some of us are, if you are making 6 figures, I'm begging you, get your LLC, go into entrepreneurship, have something that is for you. The best way to make money in life really is to have your own business. And I don't want to go too much into that. We also have somebody, a coach, that will also be telling us how. She's a coach. She's also a minister of God. So she's going to be talking to us how possible this is, how the practical way of getting out of shame into purpose. So the coach will take us through that. And another week, I believe we have the legal team that will be talking to us, 2 people, the lawyer and another person will be talking to us about legal advocacy, because many people, they have questions about, what do I do? We're going to court, or I'm already in court, I'm spending so much money on lawyer. It's very expensive. Divorce could be expensive. Some people can pay over 50,000, 40,000 on divorce. So these people are going to help us to give us information on how we can cut down the cost, how we can save money, also what to expect in court, some of the legal information that is needed when we go through this situation. So it's really power packed. And then I believe we're going to round up again with another survivor story. Another advocate is going to take us through another session of how, because right now I have this advocate that I even have, like, she has over 4 different types of businesses that she does, and right now, she's back into, a healthy relationship. She's living her life. So it's going to be fun. I say to people, even if you are not a victim or you are not a survivor of domestic violence, please join. There's no information that is wasted. It might be your sister, it might be your cousin, it might even be for your colleagues at work, it might be for your neighbor. We get a lot of information here for free. All of our programs are free. And then finally, on the 26th, Saturday, the 26th of October.
My birthday.
Yes. And we are going to be celebrating virtually.
Right.
After the work, we're going to be eating our cake virtually. So on that Saturday, we're going to have at 9 a.m., maybe 10 a.m., we're going to have our physical walk. We're going to be doing about 2-mile walk. Is walk and just rally, talk about, no more shame, step out of shame, no more violence, just in the city of Woodbridge on Main Street. We're going to be going around, and then we're going to have rally. It's going to be fun, but it's going to be music. There's going to be DJ. There's going to be all those fun things, raffle draw,
giveaways,
prizes, giveaways, and that's what we're doing this month.
No, that's awesome.
And let me even tell you another secret.
Go ahead.
So after we are done with that in October, in November, guess what? Touchlink is going to Nigeria.
Wow! Are you really?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
In Nigeria, we're setting up in Abeokuta. We are able to partner with another corporation. They're actually a church. So we're going to be setting up. It's called Mercy Link. We're not able to get the name Touchlink. It's already taken. It's called Mercy Link. It's a subsidiary of Touchlink. They're planning to have another rally, and we already have about 200 people that are going to be supporting us, or that we're going to be just, rallying with, and just going out there in Abeokuta, talking about what we do in Touchlink.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. We didn't have enough time. I was going to talk about, what we could do with Nigeria, but I think one Great. We have Mercy Link. You can also reach out to if you go to touchlink.org, you can reach out. PY can connect you with, the appropriate resources. So don't think that
They should try info@touchlink.org.
email. Okay, so that's email.
You can send email to info@touchlink.org. If you want
Okay.
to check our website, you can check us out at www.touchlink.org. Because if you want to get in touch with us, with me,
Yeah.
or you just need more information, we can provide that to you. Yes.
Yeah, and give, like she's mentioned, a transitional house is a temporary housing situation for people who have experienced DV before they so they can settle before they can move to their own house. And it's really expensive. I've worked in that industry and it's really, really expensive. And we want to build our own. So Touchlink's own. And honestly, we cannot do that without your support. So give. Please go to the website. Thank you so much. You get to ask me one question.
How many children do you want to have?
Oh, just 2. That one is easy. Twins.
That one is easy.
Twins, one time.
Why your girl?
2 boys. I don't want girls. Except God wills. I continue to yield it to God, but left to me, no.
And I hear something from the grapevine that you're trying to go into politics in Nigeria.
This is a grapevine because I don't want to go into politics in Nigeria, but I am concerned about the politics in Nigeria. I want to see Nigeria. I don't know. I like I've always said, I have a very, very strong love for Nigeria that makes no sense. It actually makes no sense. I have had there were too many struggles in Nigeria, and I've had many formative years and so much blessing in America that you would think that I would not love Nigeria the way I do, but Nigeria has a place in my heart, and I'm hoping that we can make it a little bit better. When I leave this world, I want to be able to say that I contributed in whatever way. It doesn't have to be in politics, even if it's just in my own sphere. 10 people, in fact, even one person. I don't have to go too far. One person outside of my child that I'm able to help, that is Nigerian or that lives in Nigeria, or does something in Nigeria. I think I would have felt very accomplished. But yeah, so you asked me 2 questions, Nikki.
I have to put that in.
I love it so much. Thank you so much, PY. Thank you for this. This will be out after the 5th, but we will make sure to, personally as part of TWWP, continue to partner with you and continue to share this information. So we'll definitely be sharing the flyer out for the 5th as well. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Nifa. Thank you for the privilege.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining me in today's episode. Just like you would share with friends about a great book you read, don't forget to share this if you enjoyed it. Connect with us on IG and Twitter at TWWPcast and get details on the website at worldwithoutpeople.org. And hey, remember to make loving others the story of your life. Until next time, this is The World Without People.